Hello there and Happy New Year. I am Chinwenwa Anyanwu and this is Power Wheel, a production of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN. This is a special package as it documents milestones recorded by the management and staff of TCN in the implementation of various transmission infrastructure nationwide in year 2018. The documentary also highlights TCN's journey towards hitting 20,000 megawatts bulk electricity wheeling capacity by year 2021 through the ongoing implementation of the Transmission Rehabilitation and Expansion Program, TREP. This edition promises to be interesting as always. Stay with us.
Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, was incorporated in 2005. It earlier emerged the erstwhile company, Power Holding Company of Nigeria, PHCN, which took over from the defunct National Electric Power Authority, NEPA, as a product of the merger of the transmission and operation sectors on the 1st of April 2004. As one of the unbundled business unit under the Power Holding Company of Nigeria, PHCN, it was given a license on the 1st of July 2006 with the following activities within its purview: electricity transmission, system operation, and marketing operations, which is ring-fenced, while the 17 other successor companies unbundled from PSCN were privatized. TCN was handed over to a management consultant, Manitoba Hydro International, MHI, for 4 years, ended on the 31st of August 2016. Government and the people of Nigeria were still unsatisfied. They yearned for more. And so, a new management was brought on board on the 1st of February 2017 under the leadership of Mr. Usman Gol Mohammed. Alongside Engineer Tom Owa, Engineer Musa Gumel, Mr. Sonny Ireche,
Alan Biapara,
and Halima Aliyu. This management, however, handed over to the present one, still headed by Mr. Usman Gol Mohammed in August 2017. As expected, there was a reorganization of management, the desired transparency and good accountability, and so their first task was the audit of the TCN with the wind speed activities of the PWC, who were saddled with this job. The 2012 to 2015 financial statement and the market operations of the 2015 to 2016 were delivered.
We need to put a credible system. And we have to also show transparency on the part of the organization. And that is why we have to take time to ensure TCN is audited. I can tell you that before we came, there was no single audit on TCN throughout the period that it was managed under Manitoba Hydro. We had to commence the audit. And as of today, our audit of 2012 to 2014 was concluded, 2015 was concluded, and 2016 has been concluded. What is remaining now is 2017.
The formidable team sought and found the magic wand and brought in the positive wind of change to the company. Later wonder, the TCN has moved far away from being the weakest link in Nigeria power value chain. This feat was achieved via activities of the TREP, Transmission Rehabilitation and Expansion Program, launched by the new management soon after it commenced work. Over a year and 8 months after, TCN, via its in-house capacity and new implementation strategy, has installed more equipment than record has shown in the past 10 years, with at least 2 new power transformers in every zone across the country.
In the last 1 year, the grid has been very, very stable. We've not been recording system collapses the way we used to have, them. Now, in terms of stability of the grid, the frequency control that we are able to achieve has more or less stabilized the grid. So we no longer have the trippings we used to have it. And I can tell you we are achieving a lot in terms of a grid stability.
Our wheeling capacity currently is above 7,000 megawatts. And the maximum generation ever attained, which we often refer to as the all-time peak, is 5,222.3 megawatts. It was attained on December 18, 2017.
We have also established a strategy to move to the NAC standard of 49.75 and 50.25. We started implementing that strategy about 2 weeks ago.
The zealous activities of TREP is expected to expand the grid to the record-setting capacity of 20,000 megawatts by 2021, utilizing the $1.57 billion raised by the TCN for rehabilitation and expansion. Worthy of note here are the groundbreaking achievements recorded by TCN within the last 20 months. For the first time in 20 years, it has achieved frequency control of 49.5 Hz and 50.5 Hz. TCN has for the first time in its history concluded competitive procurement of spinning reserve to cope with any emergency huge shock to the system.
If you check the daily broadcast, you will discover that our spinning reserve is either 0 or 40. For a generation of average of 4,000, the spinning reserve, which is supposed to be 10%, is supposed to be at least 400. I also want to tell you that with the support of NAC, we have launched competitive procurement of spinning reserve, which we have actually finished the evaluation. We are writing a report and we are sending to NAC. At the same time, I want to tell you this is the first time in the history of the sector that a competitive procurement of spinning reserve is being done.
The company made a giant stride when it recovered 708 out of 800 containers of valuable power equipment stranded in the port for more than 15 years.
We have recovered 708 out of 800 containers that were stranded in the port. Some of them were stranded for over 15 years. Some of them has been actually auctioned. We have recovered them.
As at date, TCN, using in-house capacity, has installed and commissioned to service over 30 transformers nationwide.
Some of those equipment is what we are using in-house staff to install them. And most of the time, these installations that we are doing are done at a record time of about 10% of the time normally our contractors use. And also the cost of the amount we are spending in those installations are usually about 10% of what we normally pay contractors. So because of that, I can tell you clearly that in the last 1 year, 8 months, we have installed more transformers and equipment more than what was done in previous 10 years.
Like the popular saying, victory is a child of all. The purpose-driven steps of TCN has set it out as a beautiful bride, attracting unique partnerships and grants and achievements, some of which include 1. The restoration of 2 towers in the River Niger, precisely at Obai, Onitsha by Ajib Joint Ventures. 2. APO and KEFI capacitor banks by JICA worth $13 million. These have been completed and commissioned. 3. Upgrading and rehabilitation of Apapa Road 132 kV substation and the rehabilitation of Akamba 330 kV substation at a sum of $21 million. The European Union grant of €25 million is another major landmark. This is to support evacuation solar power generation. The proposed double circuit line through Katsina, Daura, Quiver, Jogana and Kura.
Now we have raised a significant amount of money from multilateral donors also. We have, as at now, we have got $1.57 billion. We are actually discussing with AFD on additional $55 million, which will raise the amount to $1.607 billion. We have also created project management units, 4 project management units that are coordinated centrally. And those 4 project management units are staffed with key staff. All the key staff were selected through competitive procurement selection method. And that's why we have convinced the donors to do what we call advanced procurement. Under that process, we are able to reduce the time that it takes from the project conception to the project to the contract signing. We have reduced that time. This is the first time I'm sure advanced procurement is being done in Nigeria. There's another project which is financed by JICA. JICA is that project is putting 4 substations between Lagos and Ogun. They are all greenfield projects, and that project is targeting the most industrialized part of Nigeria, meaning we are working to provide supply stable power to industries that are between Lagos and Ogun.
Other development partners include African Development Bank, $410 million to build 330 kV cold line in more than 10 locations, World Bank support of $486 million for SCADA EMS installation and the Brownfield project, plus the $29 million for the North Cone project. French Development Agency AFD $170 million for Abuja Transmission Ring Scheme, and lastly, the joint support of AFD and the EU of $274 million for Northern Corridor transmission.
Let's take a break for a message. Please stay tuned.
Verify that land before you buy it. To drastically reduce the incidence of building under the transmission right-of-way or encroaching on designated TCN land, members of the public are hereby requested to verify land near or along transmission line route before purchasing it. Verification should be made in the Land Development Authority or at the TCN office. This would help in drastically reducing the incidence of building under transmission line right-of-way and save us all the problem of pulling down the structure or truncating transmission line expansion projects in your community due to court injunction. Help us serve you better. Verify that land before you buy it.
Of particular joy is the TCN achievement in the Northeast in the face of all the trauma the area has witnessed.
We are happy that we are here, and all the support we get from the minister and the president, we are able to do certain things that many people could not do in the past. For example, we have the capacity to take over every contract that they refuse to perform. For example, we forcibly take over Damaturu, and we completed it in a record period of 1 month. This has never happened in the history of Nigeria. If you go to Damaturu now, some of the bulbs that don't light before, they are lighting, because we have a 330 kV substation there. We forcibly take over that contract. The contract was awarded in 2006, and that contract lingered up to this time. We asked the contractor to complete several letters. We took over and we completed it. It's because we have the enabling environment. That's what we're able to do.
The Molai project was awarded in 2006. We had problem with the contractor that was giving the work to do. Along the line also there was a delay. Also, he was not performing. Our technical crew that were brought to do the job at Damaturu were mobilized to the site to do that correction. And they did it, I think, in not more than 3 days, which was commendable to our staff as at that time. So even as at the time that this management took over from the contractor that was working at Damaturu, that work has not been finished. But it was the effort of the management, which is the current management, which constitutes a team, which comprises of technical crew from Bauchi region and Kaduna region that came and did that job.
This contract for the project has been lingering for too long, and it is in this regard TCN management feels it is absolutely of importance for them to take over this project so that they see to its completion. Here we are today rejoicing Damaturu is electrified. They have a quality electricity supply within the town and its environs, and this is a kudos to TCN management.
So both Damaturu and Maduguri 330 kV substations has more or less increased the capacity in the northeast by 100%. Because before now it used to be 2 330 kV substations in the northeast. Now we have added another 2, bringing it to 4. If you go to Maduguri now, the old people there, the community there, they are very happy with us because their supply used to be like a candle light before. But now they have quality supply to the extent that when we energized Maduguri initially, they were afraid. All of them were switching off their appliances because they have never experienced that kind of quality voltage before. So we have to tell them that no, don't switch off your appliances. This is normal voltage.
This is Kano transformer. It was burnt down. But alas, the story changed and life returned therein.
After installing this new 60 MVA transformer, the small change that remained, we were able to bring back the bond transformer. As you can see, the bond transformer now is back to service.
Still on collaborations, ROW, right of way, which had posed a lot of difficulties, has greatly reduced, working with the state governors. This new collaboration strategy of the new TCN with Edo, Kaduna, Ogun, Lagos, Kano, Abia, Ondo, Kebbi, Yobe and Katsina government are charting the course. Under the same arrangement, TCN has entered into agreement with Enugu State government, under which the 132 kV substation completed by NDPHC over 4 years was energized in 2 months.
We collaborated with Enugu State and we were able to, within a short period of time, I think a period of 2 months, completed a 5 kilometer on the New Haven Otuko line to Atsuka, and we have completed and energized the 40 MVA inside the University of Nigeria, Nsukka. And this is a very, very good development. Another collaboration we are doing is one we are doing with the governor of Kaduna State, National Airfire, where even the compensation for the right of way for those places they gave us to big substation, he paid.
Supervisory Control and Data Acquisition, SCADA, is a system that operates on coded signal over communication channel, a tool for system operation and monitoring for effective grid management. Prior to this management, efforts had been made repeatedly and repeatedly it failed. But with the high-powered international conference the new management organized on SCADA in July 2018, headway was made and procurement already commenced of the communication backbone.
One of the things that conference actually suggested is that we should not move to the procurement of SCADA until we we fix the communication backbone. And that is what we are doing. And we are trying to procure fiber optic and install on certain key lines across the network. And this will happen anytime from now.
The documentary will continue in a moment as we bring you power sector highlights in the Power Flash segment.
The TCN TREP has also perfected a 20-year least cost transmission expansion master plan. It has also introduced a 330 kV quad conductor line for the first time, as against the 330 kV twin conductor that currently exists in Nigeria, and Nigerians are enjoying it, especially with the launch of the eligible customer scheme by the Honorable Minister of Power. Here are some testimonies.
Fantastic. We are better than where we had before eligible customer. The power is steady, constant with good quality supply. I can tell you that we have power 24 hours all the time.
INA Galaxy Group is thanking Minister of Power for eligible customer program. We appreciate for the support the Nigerians and government have given to us. Thank you so much.
The President is giving us this budgetary support.
The new TCN believes in using the full services of its staff members to execute projects or aid contractors complete projects within record time. In doing that, it realizes the need for constant training of its staff, and so it paid off the outstanding membership fees to Association of Power Utilities in Africa, APUA, the sum of $25,000 to enable TCN staff opportunity of benefiting from its programs. So far, 310 TCN staff have benefited. Also, Pupillage training has been reintroduced into the system, whereby new engineers work under tutelage of senior engineers as guide and professional mentors for about a year before they go independent.
We have also brought in, some programs that are structured to continually expose the engineers to the learning requirements, to innovations and all that. This is also being pursued fervently.
While work pays, we know it pays even more when the mind, body and soul are in top shape, and so recognizing that the new TCN carries free cancer screening for its staff. It has also established a voluntary fitness club for staff and the exercise and fun every Saturday.
TCN staff have a fitness club. How did the fitness club came up? I think in one of the presentations I did for them, I showed them my picture before and they look at me now. Anytime you see me sitting in front of you, I've done at least 10 kilometers of jogging, usually at the rate of 6 minutes per kilometer, every day, at minimum 10. So this has actually given me a lot of stamina. So when I showed that, staff voluntarily decided to form a club and they choose their own leader by themselves. And since that time, every Saturday we go to Jadi, we will see TCN staff doing jogging.
It has a lot of us that have not been moving from covering a distance, but because we are regular in the exercise, a lot of us can jump, can run from cover distance.
The staff canteen, which had hitherto gone into extinction, has been fully rehabilitated and energized.
We have also recreated our hospital. Our hospital used to be here before. We have removed it to Metama in Nile Street, and we have rehabilitated it and make it a better hospital than what it used to be before.
The journey is only begun. The TCN is set to truly wheel all generated power to distribution load centers nationwide to drive national development. We give kudos to the staff and management of Transmission Company of Nigeria for their tireless efforts and resilience. We must appreciate the rejuvenating role of our able Minister for Power, Works and Housing, Mr. Babatunde Fashola, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. Finally, we are truly and deeply grateful to the federal government of Nigeria and particularly President Muhammadu Buhari for believing and supporting us.
This is the most transparent human being that I have ever known in my life.
And we further pledge our determination to bring our Nigerian power dreams to reality.
Our feedback today shall be taken from our Facebook platform. First, our comments on the installation of 260 MVA power transformers in Benin and Onitsha press release. Ibrahim B. Rurum congratulated TCN, saying the company has shown readiness to move to the next level, wishing all staff and the nation more blessings ahead. Responding to TCN Northern Corridor Project press release, Abba Daura says, "Thank you, TCN." Solomon Ifeanyichukwu says, "More to come at TCN." On the commissioning of a new 1x60 MVA power transformer in Katsina Transmission Substation of TCN, performed by His Excellency, the Governor of Katsina State, Aminu Bello Masari, Awal Adamu Gaya responded saying, "Kudos to the staff of TCN for achieving another milestone." Harriet Chris says, "Well done." Thank you for responding to our messages. We appreciate that you are there for us, and we assure you of more quality services to come. That is it on this edition. TCN is better positioned this year to deliver on more infrastructure and to work towards having a robust electricity transmission network. You can always reach us on the social media platforms showing on your screen. See you next time. I am Chinwenwa Anyao.